way.
Yeah, make sure you get with Brad, and he can go over the safety requirements, everything you guys have to wear.
Okay.
Any other questions? Have a motion?
Second.
We have I said, do we have any motions?
Oh, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I can't make motions. We have a motion to second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. You're all right.
Okay, now I need letter C, approval of bucket drive for E.W. Tateman Christmas Fund on October 3rd. Andrew Benz.
Excuse me.
Thank you. I'm here representing the E.W. Tapman Underprivileged Children Christmas Fund. And as usual, you people have been kind enough to allow us to hold a boot drive. We're requesting a boot drive on Saturday, October the 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we'd like to set up at 6th and Grand and 24th and Grand. The materials needed, I will pick up at the street department the day prior, which is Friday, October the 2nd. We'll return such materials on the following Monday on October the 5th. So that's where we stand.
Your Honor, I make a motion that we accept this request from Mr. Benz to have this boot drive on October 3rd, please.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see Linda here. Is Linda Fitzgerald here? Nobody out back? Okay, we'll scratch that one. Okay, approval of resolution, first aid unit abolish unpaid accounts. Rosemary?
This would be abolishing 2016 unpaid accounts in the amount of $7,094.
These are uncollectibles, right?
Right.
I'd make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
I'll second, but I have a question. Is this just a mishmash of everything, Rosemary, over that time?
This is everything from 2016. After this, it went to a collection agency, so we shouldn't have any more of
Okay,
this.
that's fine. Sorry, Dave.
No, no problem.
These are the checks that you sent out last month? I mean, the notice on these?
This is from the ambulance billing service billing for 2016, uncollectible.
I saw some in one of our packets about a month ago. Is that?
Those were something different completely. That is our checks never cashed.
Okay,
This is something different.
okay.
Any other
We got
questions?
a motion
We
and a
had a
second.
motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, recommendation of pending ordinance number 3558, Jones Street Alley. Get my notes here. This was from, didn't discuss this the week we were gone. Did you discuss this the week you were gone? Okay, I know we discussed it at council, so I want to make sure you guys are on the same page with this. This is an alley that was, one way, we're designated two ways, is that correct, Brad? Yeah, it is back so they can access it for the trucks to get in and out. Basically, we're driving illegally every time we service that lift station.
We're not servicing it yet, but
When we do, how's that? And there's really, we didn't see any reason or complaints not to make that a two-way. So, is there any-
Actually, it'll be a benefit to even the
It'd be-
current residents.
yeah, it'd be a benefit. You brought it up there, John? Right there, right next to that
Yeah.
field. There's a lift station going in back there in the corner. Right there. So they can just pull in the services a lot easier.
I think everyone's been involved in it, needs to be involved in it, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions from?
May I ask, am I correct that Jones Street is already one way down to that point? It's one of the options here, but it's already one way down to that point, right?
it's one way in the block, the one block going west from the highway.
No, it talks about Jones Street, not John, but Jones. It starts at the restaurant there on Vine and comes around the corner, and then Jones is all the way. I believe it is already one way.
That part I don't know. I mean, look at that.
Can I get back to you on that?
Yep.
Well, I plan to approve it, so.
It did.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Oh, sir.
I looked at it from getting from there back to there. Okay, if we have any other questions, do we have any motions for
We
approval?
don't need it, this
I'm
is,
sorry, this recommendation of pending warrants, I'm sorry. I'm learning, bear with me, I'm a rookie here. So we don't take any action on that as council, correct?
it's canceled.
Okay.
Just letting them,
You want-
Board of Works know
Thank you.
today.
I would recommend that we send a recommendation to the council on this ordinance.
Okay. So we have a recommendation, do we take a second on that?
Second.
We have a
If we
second?
can.
So all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We will send a recommendation to council. Okay, item G. Recommendation of pending ordinance number 3559, repealing truck traffic on Western Avenue. I know we had a lengthy discussion on council on this.
Yes, we did.
I wasn't here for your guys, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
I can't tell you all the comments, but my comment was that, that prior to the previous administration, that road, that street was always used for truck traffic, so that there is access to the industrial area and so forth. I think that we are an industrial town, and we can go too far with restrictions, and I think this is just one of the costs of being an industrial town. I think it's a good thoroughfare for the trucks, and I plan to recommend this to the council.
Any other discussion?
My personal opinion and feedback, I've seen trucks trying to go down 18th Street and Grand and all kinds of side streets, so to me, this is, we need to take the truck traffic back to where the industries are at.
Yeah. Any other? I know I spoke with several businesses and they were all in favor of repealing this, and it hurts them bad. So,
One thing I'd be concerned with is, has any fines been levied against any trucking companies lately, or somebody's gonna come back and say, okay, now it's,
would that be retroactive, Dave?
No.
Just
Only
not
effective
retroactive.
upon
Effective,
passage.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Just wanted your expertise on that one.
Well, how is the officers who patrol the street gonna know that it's passed? Doesn't it take some time?
Was that okay? We're supposed to let the state police and everybody know?
Well, that'd be a good idea, yeah. I
We'll
mean,
let every department know.
Our ordinances are public record, but yeah, I think they should be given a heads
I
up.
don't think state
ask-
police are doing anything anyway.
Mr. Mayor, we would ask the chief to make sure his department knows, and
Let him coordinate.
ask that he contact
Yeah.
the state.
Okay with you?
Yep, no problem.
Appreciate that.
Do they commonly defer to your jurisdiction in that area, or?
They have, I mean, obviously they can patrol wherever, but
Sure.
From the state troopers I talked to, they quit pulling people over on that road for that. There was so
Yeah.
much confusion, they just quit doing it.
I mean,
I'm sure there might be some that do, but most of them I've talked to, it's like, they're not even doing it anymore.
And Brad, I don't believe there are restrictive truck traffic signs on Western. If so, they'll need to be removed, but I don't.
Yes, there is.
There
If there
is, yeah.
Okay. Well, once this is passed tonight, we'll want to remove those right, assuming it's passed tonight, we'll want to remove those right away.
And then there also a sign directing traffic at 30th Street going
That's it.
south. Is that what you're talking about?
But, yeah. Most trucks are gonna stay the truck route anyway.
Yes, it will.
Well, the
It's
truck
really the
route
local
actually,
guys.
doesn't the truck route actually go down Park Road?
Park
Yeah.
Road, yes.
So, I mean, I wouldn't remove any truck route signs.
We're not taking, no, don't
No.
take the truck route, just the
Okay.
ordinance.
No, there's the sign just said no heavy trucks.
Yeah. Okay, we have any recommendations of sending pending ordinance 3559 to city council?
I'd recommend that, sir.
I'll second that.
We have a recommendation, a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
30th to Park. I
Okay,
see.
send a recommendation to council.
It's April 3 traffic.
I see.
This one says local deliveries.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Item H. Approval of grant writing administration interlocal agreement. Rosemary, you want to go on that one?
This is an interlocal agreement between the city and the county for the grant writer, where we share her hours, and we take care of paying her and they reimburse us.
We had to change that because we went to a part-time position. And so the numbers all changed, so all it is just matching the numbers up with.
It really needs to be redone every year anyway.
Yes, I agree, Rosemary, it does.
So,
Just a question, but why would we only have that as a part-time position?
because that's the only way I could get her.
Yeah.
She's good, and I wanted her.
Not discrediting her.
No, she's fantastic, and I wanted her, and that was the way I get her. She's here Tuesday through Friday, but she is a part-time position, so it does save some benefits. But we're also looking at some other options with the county as well, maybe splitting some work a different way. We got to figure all that out, but for now, just to get her in that office was a big deal to me. 'Cause
She's done it before, hasn't
she did it before. She's highly sought after, very good.
she? Yep.
I was very grateful when she came back, and anyone who knows her, she's fantastic.
Yep.
But that was really it. That's the only way I could get her. Was work Tuesday through Friday, so and she's doing a great job. I've spent hours trying to figure stuff out because you know me, I'm weird. I hate asking people for help. I asked her a question, she had it solved in 10 minutes. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, she's that good. She knows what she's doing. So that's what that is. So,
Need a motion.
yep, you need a motion to approval of grant writing administration and local agreement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Approval of easement at River's Edge. You wanna talk about this one? Or is that outside of you?
It's just if you guys have any questions about it.
Do you have any questions, Director?
We have it, including a map.
Yeah. Everybody have it?
Yeah.
No
I
questions.
bet it's pretty straightforward.
Say I didn't get that.
You'll get a grant of easement.
I got this, but I didn't get the map with it.
Maybe we should explain what the, how much they want to extend or
You wanna
whatever.
come up here?
I don't have a copy
Just a
of it with me.
suggestion, I
You're
don't-
fine. No, explain it for camera.
It's the needed power,
It's for power.
yeah.
It's for power, and we decided to go with the electric cabinet just for aesthetic purposes. It's something that can be mounted to the concession stand instead of having a big ugly box in the middle of our pretty park.
Good idea.
So that's my expertise on this issue.
Any questions?
I have none.
So we're doing this, the cities are doing this, or who's doing it?
We're paying Duke to do
Duke,
it.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I saw that, but I didn't know if we had a part in it.
This is just under city-owned land or county-owned land, or?
It's city.
Well, it's a city
It's-
park on county land, correct?
Anytime that there's, the easement's gotta be there.
It's similar to an easement for utilities, right?
Yeah,
I just wasn't sure if this was going across anybody else's land too.
No, no,
that's
it's
a
not.
good point, it isn't.
No, this is going from Veterans, and Rosemary, you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but going from Veterans Memorial back to the concession stand.
Okay.
But this little square up here is somebody else's property.
Yes,
And we already have an easement on there for the utilities.
but we're not on that with this,
But
right?
More on the line of Duke's line.
building that you see right there.
Right, this is somebody else's
This
property
is-
right here.
Oh, okay.
It's not the trees either. I learned that one the hard way. Any questions?
None?
Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second?
And a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, let's move on down to department matters. Brad Coulter.
Hi, Brad.
Howdy. I got several things I'm gonna run through. We are working on finalizing the agreement with IDEM that will start to wrap up our long-term testing on the, let's call it the Vistion property cleanup. So I just kind of wanted to keep you informed. It's probably been going on about a year. They've been trying to figure out exactly how we're going to monitor that in the future, and it's going to fall within our regular Century Well testing.
Oh, good.
So you'll be seeing our agreement as soon as IDEM approves it. And I'm not going to talk about the union contract today. I'll get you a summary before the next meeting because the council isn't going to be ready to, they aren't going to have enough information to do anything with it yet anyway, so we had a pretty full meeting, it looked like. Just want to I'm not going to talk much about these projects, but I just want to tell you where we are on all of them since we have so much going on. The digester project is probably about 80% finished, maybe a little bit better than that. Paint company is probably about 90%. We're just waiting on the controls, and then the building will get set and it will be ready to fire it up, I think, mid-March. We've been talking about that project for about 4 years, so thank goodness it's finally getting ready to get started. We're going to have a retirement ceremony, I think, down at the old station, so.
That's a good idea.
Memorial Drive is moving right along. We'll be opening the bids on that on the 20th, right here in this chambers. Then we'll have a,
I'm sorry. I've been told that the Okra photo has been in the Brookville paper, but not Connersville.
okay.
Any idea why?
Mm-mm. Nope. And the 7th Street project, pretty far along in the design stages. 30th Street water main, 7th Street, Memorial Drive, 30th Street water main will all be built this year. I'm trying to line them all up so we can use part-time inspection on all 4 of those. I'm hoping that the downtown project lines up with our paving inspection, so we can use part-time on both of those 2 instead of
We have the
full-time.
money to cover all that, Brad, I'm sure we do.
Yep.
Thank you.
The Okra Water Grant, it's looking like we're gonna have to drop back and punt as far as this grant cycle because we don't have easements for, in the EB Drive area. And so we're just gonna hold off and go for the next grant cycle and get the easements in the meantime. There wasn't,
How many easements you need?
most of them. I think there was 5 out of 24, so. I still think we have them somewhere, we just can't find them. And it'll give us more time to look for them, and then if not, we can reacquire them or whatever. A lot of times when the contractors built those, and then the city takes them over later, sometimes the ball got dropped on making sure that we had an easement. But the fact that we had the first 6 properties makes me think that maybe we might also have the others, so we're working on that, but we can't, we're out of time. Like, we're down to days to try to apply for that grant and get all the paperwork done. We are also working with our IDEM to finalize our long-term control plan update. And you'll be hearing about that here in the next couple of weeks, I'd say. We're getting real close to having that wrapped up. And as far as the one thing I wanted to tell you, we had reported to the previous Board of Works that we are switching over the way we treat the water at the water plant. We've always used chlorine gas. We're going to be going to a liquid form now. And we've been waiting on a permit from IDEM to make those changes. Now we have it, and so hopefully maybe in about 3 weeks we'll have that up and running. The significance of that to the public is we'll be doing away with the gas form of chlorine in that area, which is close to the park. And there really wasn't a better option until recently people started using, so
It's safer, right?
It's a lot safer.
Much safer. Yep, good idea.
it's still a little dangerous for the guys, but it's not dangerous to the public like this has been. On the street department, I just wanted to tell you, I think maybe I had mentioned before, but those lights up there are all starting to go out. You probably noticed that a lot of them are out. I've been working on a project to replace those. Ludwig Electric is trying to build a scope for the project. Then we're gonna plug a light into the project and see what it's gonna cost. So I have talked to Anna. She says that the foundation will participate with us, and I have a donor that is willing to kick in a big chunk too.
Good, good.
So I think that we'll make that happen and upgrade those lights. We just have to pick a light and get started. I just wanted to tell you that probably we'll use less lights. Right now, they're kind of crowded. I think we'll put about half as many back. So, anybody have any thoughts on this?
Have you checked out solar LEDs
Nope.
instead of wiring?
Nope, we
got a meeting, we got canceled. We're meeting some different LED reps on different ones.
Since those were originally installed by private people on behalf of the city, do we need to contact the NDOT for any reason? To let them know what we're doing?
Well, we have kind of kicked it around with them, and they said go for it, and really don't have any involvement in it.
Good.
Is sodium lights a possibility to use on those, Brad, or are they outdated? I've been out of the picture of a light before.
We haven't got that far.
Okay.
So right now Ludwig is designing what it would take like to run new electric,
I got you.
and then we'll figure out what light and see what it's gonna cost, and then we'll go
Thank
from
you.
there. And I don't know why solar couldn't be an option.
I've priced them both out before, and it seems like solar is actually being more feasible to go with. Depends on what kind of voltage you're running through them.
It seems okay to me because those aren't providing that, they're not there for light. I mean, there are street lights providing light on the street, they're there for decoration.
We're
And
wanting to match them up with ones downtown so it all looks uniform as well. I'm not real sure solar will provide some of the amenities we're looking for downtown.
we'll put it in the
We'll look
mix.
at it. We're definitely looking at it to see solar, but we're meeting some reps here in a couple of weeks on LED lights.
I've
Now the
worked
group-
with, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I've worked with Ludwig a lot of years when I was with utilities. I highly trust all that they'll do. They're always fair and always cost conscious.
Well, he is, and he keeps going back to, he wants us to think about retrofitting the poles that we already have there. So I was at least gonna let him have that,
Option.
make the argument.
Have you contacted the group that bought the lights? I'm not sure of that understanding back then, but wouldn't a group bought the lights and then the city installed them?
No, I don't think the city did. I think they did everything.
We did nothing until we took them over after it was all completed.
Since that group bought the lights, would it be out of respect?
I don't know that it was a group as much as it was individuals. I know
I don't even know who did any of that. That was,
Mr. Whipple,
Yeah, Bud Whipple was.
Yeah, that was his baby.
and I think Richard Brown was in it. He helped do a lot of the work, and others.
I just kind of called about, maybe out of respect, since they're the ones that bought them, to at least give them a call and say, listen, this is what we're doing, you know, just, I know there was some bad blood, the way things happened back then, maybe we can.
Okay, we will.
we'll research that.
The last thing is I wanted to bring up recycling, in case anybody had anything to say about it, any thoughts. Guess you saw what we said about it in the paper. That's pretty much where we are. Still evaluating, trying to figure out exactly what we're gonna do.
And we are, there's three of us heading out of town Sunday to go look at a facility to see if it's something we want to approach or not. And so we are working on it. Again, we're going to go research and do our due diligence. So,
I've had several people ask me if we could put bins in the north end somewhere, and we have kicked around the idea. Just trying to figure out a place where it could be locked at night, so we don't collect appliances and everything. So,
I saw in the accounts payable where we just spent $8,000 for recycle bags, so we have plenty to encourage people to use them. We charge for them, but it's a bargain. It is.
so that's what I got.
Any other questions for Brad while you got him?
I do on the second, automatic truck, how are we standing on that one? Is that,
We're getting quotes to refurbish it.
okay? We still in the quoting
We don't have any
phase?
money to spend on that refurbishing, probably not enough to do it anyway, so as soon as we have a number, I'll be talking to you.
Okay. I just think it's important to know too that we have a backup plan in case the other trash truck.
It may be that we could do our own refurbish. I wanted to get it quoted professionally so we would know what would they do to the trucks if they were doing it. And then we can use that as a guide for what we might do. So,
I'd just like to compliment Brad and you, Mr. Mayor, for the communications part that's been happening over the last 3 or 4 weeks to the public, keeping people aware of what we're doing, and we're doing this, that, and the other thing, and it sure makes it a lot easier on us people that serve on this board here, because you're telling them what you're doing and what you're attempting to do, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, and Mr. Mayor both.
We're already get accused of talking too much, but this time we're getting.
maybe they don't like what we say.
You're saying the right thing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Mr.
Thank you, Brad.
Bottomley, you're up.
You didn't
You're,
have-
well, he's on the agenda, so that's what I was wondering.
I am, for what?
Your name's on there, I guess.
Hi, how everybody doing?
Your name's on there, so you're up.
You're over the crew, the treatment plant.
Yeah. Am I supposed to do the monthly report?
There you go.
Whatever you want to do.
I'm glad I brought it. All right, January monthly report. Should have had a copy in your binders, your folders. I think this would be a couple of you guys' first report from utilities, correct? That we try to send out, but pretty basic. We start off with revenue disbursements for the month of January. Second page has it broke down a little bit different. Go over overtime. We had $9,000, $9,100 in overtime. 4,800 of that is scheduled overtime, which would be sewer plant, basically, and a little bit at the water plant, where we have to have someone on duty no matter what, so we have to schedule someone.
That's due to someone absent or a holiday or so forth.
Yeah, if you look at the breakdown of the overtime report, you'll notice wastewater plant's 3,000 of that, and I think that included the last of Christmas and New Year's into that too, so that's a little higher than normal. And also in the overtime report, I try to keep it consistent over the last 5 years, what we spent each month in overtime, to give us a guide, what we're looking for each month. We've been pretty consistent for the past 5 years in overtime, which is kind of surprising because that's leaks and everything else.
So we had some water leaks in January, didn't we?
And a few leaks in January. Third page of the report is our work orders. If you see on number 4, it says sewer crew, water crew 27, and meter department and customer service 625. That 625 is miscellaneous calls throughout the day, re-reads, delinquents, meter changes, meter repairs, a little bit of everything, that's why there's so many. 27 is pretty much the work that the guys do. And I kind of put the water crew work in January, kind of what address and what they did at those addresses, and did the same for the sewer department on the next page. Lastly is the monthly report for the water plant and the sewer plant monthly reports that they give us each month. Other than that, Brad talked about the project updates. Miscellaneous, we all went to, Brad, Mike, Cindy, Aaron, Roger at the water plant, all went to the AWA water loss audit course on January 27th. And I think this was, the Okra State House that was this month though, right? It was this month that we went.
Just a couple weeks ago.
And we've been doing a lot of site visits at we're in the process of doing our asset management plan. So Strand's been up, and we've been doing a lot of work with that, with the lift stations and booster stations, and just visiting our sites and our assets. Any questions over the report?
I have one on, if I may, on the claims. Who is, and this is just for my own benefit, who is Civica, Mike? Is that an insurance or?
It's our office stuff, office CMI software.
Oh, okay.
We're updating all the servers, computers, software at the office.
And the other question I have, Rosemary, is when is the in lieu of taxes paid from utilities? Is that the month's end or?
No, sure.
Okay, that's fair.
It's monthly though, right?
It's monthly,
Yeah,
but I'm
I
not
know
for
it's
sure
monthly, but I
which
didn't-
claim.
it doesn't
You
show.
probably noticed that was on the water and sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we split all the costs on the office.
Just asking. Thank you.
Good question on that Civica, because that's the question I had too. I mean, how are we?
We had to go from the Windows 7 to 10 to accept the new software that we are in the process.
Almost done with that now, or is this like? the end of the
Yeah,
building?
we're finishing up, yeah. I don't know, probably, well, knock on wood, shouldn't get any more invoices for that process.
Okay.
When we choose the software, there'll be another stage of it.
I just asked because there's two different entries and they're both for $7,000, so that's
Yeah,
understandable.
utilities kind of like 3 departments, so we split all of our invoices to 3
Right.
different ways.
Okay.
So you'll see the same company 3 different times, at times.
Thank you.
That's a good answer.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, Catherine, hurry up, thank you. Come on, I lost my place.
So you have a copy of my report. I left mine on my desk, so I'm gonna wing it.
Here, you want mine?
Oh, you're fine. This is kind of the point I got to, as far as how I report from the park. I try to give you an update on each of our facilities, if anything is going on with sports, programs, or staff. I haven't delved too much into the finances. I don't know if that's something you want to see more of, so if there are things that you would like to see as a new board, please let me know, and we can make those adjustments. I guess the big news continues to be the construction at River's Edge. We are looking at the end of March to finally see that completed, and then the park will be responsible to seed and do some parking lot work out there to get that park open to the public. So that's my highlight. I don't know if you guys have any other questions about what we're doing, or we do have toddler time tomorrow, if anybody's watching.
Appreciate
Painting
you.
looks fantastic.
The what does?
Your painting.
Oh, yes, the guys have painted the gym. We've pretty much redone everything inside the Red Cross building.
Saw photos.
Yeah, we're really trying to spruce things up. There's a lot of sprucing to do, but one project at a time.
I appreciate the News Examiner having the story about River's Edge and
Yeah.
how far along you've gone, and your Facebook posts of things that you're updating, and
Yeah, we try to
Making
keep the
them look
public
nicer.
involved, and
Communications, it's good.
we appreciate that.
I did attend the Indiana Parks and Recreation Association, IPRA. I went to that conference last week. Tons of ideas, tons of questions I came back with, so that was really informative. Those are always good networking opportunities, that's why I go. Learn what other departments are doing and what's working, helps us benchmark our own processes.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
I have one quick question. Could you just do a brief update of what you and I talked about Smalley's Lake? I got another call about it,
Oh.
please. Just
Sure.
let everyone know what you're doing, please.
So Mike had asked me to look into stocking additional game fish at Smalley's Pond. I talked to the DNR, you'll have to help me remember this conversation. He told me that the lake had not been evaluated, was it '02? I want to say since 2002. The DNR, it wasn't on their radar so much because of the size, it's very small. But he will be out here in May to evaluate the fish population and the vegetation. Trying to remember all that I had told you. Is that enough? The gist of it is we're going to check it out in May and June.
It's work in progress.
And then he's going to give us some recommendations as far as, was it bass and walleye, maybe?
And some catfish, maybe. I think he added in.
Yeah, we add catfish. There's 800 catfish annually. I think it was the bass he said we could not add.
That's fine.
But yeah, that's,
Just so the public knows.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you may, Catherine, I have a couple questions
Sure.
too. On the progression of River's Edge, is there an inspection procedure? Do the engineers or the, architects come down and do they have a walkthrough periodically?
the architects were down the last time in December. I have spoken to them and they do not plan to walk again. They have basically turned this over. It's a contract now between the city and In Construction. Alston Nesbitt, who is our general contractor, he runs the company. He has, his name just flew out of my head.
Boo.
No, our city.
Safety engineer?
Bill McDaniel.
Bill McDaniel.
Sorry, it
Oh,
flew back
okay.
in. There it is. He's had Bill out 4 times. And so at our request, he will give us copies of those inspections. And Bill was out there the last time, I believe Alston told me 2 weeks ago. So he's keeping tabs on the construction. And then I go out and walk through, but
I wasn't sure.
not
because
having that background, I'm never really sure.
Being the city's responsibility after everything's done, I just wanted to make sure that everything's being done according to like,
Code and-
the code and
yes.
the bid, and the design. I don't want a design flaw and then all of a sudden the city is liable for some major renovations or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything in the contract, is Alston gonna be fixing, or N&N gonna be fixing anything to a certain amount of time frame afterwards if something?
I would have to read the contract again for that. But what we are doing right now, since I started in May, for the longest time, there was nothing out there to go look at. So having buildings and things to go see now is something we've had to kind of add to the schedule. But what we do now is I walk through and I see things like, why does this metal not line up? Like, why is there, what's going on with the roof? We have one piece of metal that has a dent in it. Like, are you going to fix that? So I make a list, and then Alston and I review it, and then it follows up and gets those punch list items taken care of. As far as the code issues go, I would rely on Bill to catch that kind of stuff, though.
Okay,
Because that's not my expertise at all.
okay. The other question I have is on, if we move the ball fields or when we move the ball fields out there, what is the long-term goal that you're looking at for the existing ball fields? What are we gonna do with that?
That
Area.
land would be turned back over to utilities.
Okay, both parcels?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be just wetland.
Okay. Because I know Wells still owns 2 parcels in that flat, and then we have the 2, the west and the north.
Right now, according to GIS, Mr. Wells owns half by the fast pitch field. He owns basically like a rectangle that is half of the parking lot. And then his property goes in a rectangle and then it goes out like this. And then the rest of that land is the city's.
Okay.
Thank you for going down and checking on things too.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Very good, thank you.
Randy?
All right, in the past, couple Board of Works meetings ago, I asked for your blessing on filling our unforeseeable promotions, and we did so here these last couple of weeks. I don't know if you guys have do you guys have a copy of it all?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory. We, ultimately, myself and Assistant Chief McCurry, took in letters from who was interested. We sat everybody down and basically interviewed them. And we have a review board who goes further into depth on the interview process. So they got all of our recommendations, and they had the opportunity to talk to, whoever, whatever they wanted to talk to. And they gave us back their recommendations. So their recommendations is Officer Mark Coons from patrol to detective. Sergeant Dean Rowland was promoted to lieutenant, and Officer Clint Brown was promoted to sergeant.
With these promotions, does that take anybody off of patrol?
It does for Coons. Yeah, he has to replace Wilcox going out next month. So
And the new young man who just hired, will he take his place? Or is he-
back on the road, the one we have at the police academy now,
Yeah.
Wilson? Yeah, yes, when he gets out.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a replacement for Wilcox.
Randy, how many patrolmen do we have?
20,
True
20.
patrolmen?
20,
20 of them?
Yeah.
How many sergeants and lieutenants and, I'd say?
three sergeants, 3 lieutenants, 3 captains.
On pre-shift.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure the balance is right, to where we're not getting top heavy or we're not bottom heavy or.
Yeah, it's always been that way. We haven't added any other position
Okay.
with these promotions.
Sure, I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask.
Yep. Any questions on that?
I can make a motion there if we can, approve the chief's request.
Second motion.
We have a motion, any other questions, discussion, by the way?
None.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All same sign opposed. I said that backwards, didn't I? Wow,
It's a mistake of the
you
day.
never know what I do. I got my point across.
Yep.
All right, now the monthly reports for January. I'm new at this also, so I'm not sure what you guys want out of us. Whatever recommendations you request, I'll be more than happy to do that in the future.
I am definitely interested in overtime. That's a big number.
It's a big number, and
I'm
that's,
sure it's explainable.
it's really not typical, I mean, in January especially, but in January, we had 2 on funeral leave, so that's a total of probably 14 days. And the majority of the patrol overtime came from our detective division. We had a lot of big hours on detective work. On a couple of cases that I'm not going to indulge on right now, but there was a lot of manpower needed for that. Some of it was to the early mornings. I mean, it was going on 12, 15-hour days. So,
Along with Mike, I did see, there is quite a bit of overtime. Do you know of, have you thought of any solutions that maybe a way of reducing overtime and whether it's scheduling different, whether it's adding in a patrolman or two,
I mean, as far as scheduling, we can't really schedule differently because it's contractual, how many we got to have working per shift.
Yeah.
So there's things that we're looking at, for instance, next month, obviously we took an extra person off the road, so that'll limit how many people certain shifts can be off. But then you run into trouble, down the road when vacations start happening of that. But that's a tool that we can use, and we're utilizing it next month to alleviate some of, moving coons especially out of patrol into detective, so. But other, short of manpower, as far as getting rid of some of this scheduled overtime is the manpower issue.
I mean, sometimes there's a value, I mean, I understand with all the benefits and everything else, but to be able to look and see if it's gonna take to be able to add one or two people and not
Correct,
spend,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
that much on overtime, you
Mhm.
know.
Right.
Well, that was
It'll
one-
take that.
If I could just say, that was one of the reasons he came forward in the last board meeting, I think, of the board before, and asked to hire a part-time retired police officer was to help alleviate some of this overtime. You're always gonna have overtime in the police department, and some in the fire department, all of them really, but the police department a lot. And I've seen through the years, and you can't help it when people's on vacation, they're on funeral leave and that. And I think that they do a pretty good job as administrators of the overtime, the police chief and assistant.
I would just like to see the number at the end of the year be a lot less than what it was last year. I'll
So,
put it that
so
way.
would I. We'll work on some things.
Thank you.
Trust me.
I'm all ears.
Yeah, we
We're here to help.
talk pretty regular, and that's one of our little brainstorming ideas, and Chief, you're doing a fantastic job. I love everything you've done so far, I'll be honest, you've just done a fantastic job.
One other thing I want to bring up is, Art, if you turn back to our report on citations issued, if you look at that number, we are no tolerance, and we've advertised it on our Facebook page and in the newspaper about bus stop arms.
Oh, yeah.
We're no tolerance on that. And you see, we've written 16 citations, 13 of them are from stop arm violations.
Wow.
So we'll continue to monitor that, and anytime there's an issue in a certain area or school, in front of their school, whatnot, we'll be on it. We'll definitely take priority to that, so.
Those cameras help you?
On the buses? Yes.
And those citations issued, that's included in, that number's included in the traffic stops, 157, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to stop them.
Right, yeah.
Randy, how are you coming along with the vehicles to get them ready for sale?
I'm not sure how many he's got left, a couple left in
They're spread
Striper.
over at the auction company now, we're still waiting on two others.
Okay. Two others to get over the top.
Yes, we're trying to utilize him on his duty hours to alleviate any overtime issues.
Okay,
He's doing what he can.
okay.
It's coming along, so on that, like I say, we gotta advertise for a certain amount of time, so once we get the last one over there, then we'll start with that.
Okay.
Coons will advertise for us, so.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you for getting rid of
Thank
some
you,
of
sir.
those.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, John, you get to go on camera. Usually behind the camera.
It's always fun to come up here from behind there. I don't know where to set the camera, so I just set it wide.
Well, I can say this, it's very odd speaking to a camera. I'm learning this the hard way.
Yes.
I had my complete entire 2-minute speech planned. All of a sudden, he's just standing there behind the camera smiling, and I couldn't remember 2 words. I thought I went for 4 minutes, I went for 32 seconds.
On camera shot.
Yeah, we gotta learn how to do this, but John's helping me.
Yeah, we'll get into it, ease into it. Catherine forgot one thing, which I did want to mention, because it only marginally involves me. At the Miller Center, her guys built the closet and brought the audio out where it can actually be worked on instead of back in the back closet area. So it's much better now. And I was very impressed with their work. I mean, they did it in a day. It was just done. So we're still working on the audio in there. I think that the amplifier probably needs to be replaced. So we noticed some issues with that. So we probably ought to get together on that.
It's just not real good audio in that.
It's really hard. It's a 70-volt system with multiple speakers pointing down at the ceiling, and the echo is pretty bad. But I know that Catherine's also working on finding a way to fix that too. So for the month of January, we've been doing a lot of basketball. We had 6 basketball games, 2 away games, and the away games have been very popular this year. We're doing a kind of a flyaway system. Single cam only, and then Fran and Ron are out there doing the play-by-play as well, and it's working very well. For the month, we had 21 hours, 10 minutes of original programming, 8 hours, 15 minutes of meetings. And are there any questions?
I do want to compliment the hometown salute that you had, the 1st of January, first part of January.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still aired now or not. I saw
It is. We'll continue to air. Actually, we're running that one an extra month. because we're kind of in between on that. We have a new host that's going to be starting, and it's kind of a secret, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Sherry Herbert Kendall has agreed to host that show, and we're going to shoot the first new episode this week.
Now, we may be talking about different things, but I was talking about the, where Mr. P spoke of his time in service.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
that was so interesting.
Yeah. It's really quite amazing. It was a
is.
good show.
And to recall
Yes.
all of that back when you're 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
now you're 90.
Yeah.
You know, just amazing. It was just amazing. I
Yeah.
appreciate you making that effort out.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I want to add to that, too. If anyone out there that's watching knows of a veteran that you feel needs to be featured on that, please give me a call. The number at the office is 825-3245. You can text me at 265-1457. So we'd like to feature as many local veterans as we can. That's the whole point of that program.
Any other questions? I do want to say that the HGTV video was fantastic.
Yep.
I'm in a lot of different communities and hear a lot of different things, and I had more compliments. Everyone said your guys' video was the best.
Oh, yeah.
And the way it was produced. A lot of people don't know is I'm a marketing guy. I am not a producer. When John and I first sat down, I started giving him marketing ideas, and he just basically looked at me politely and said, "Be quiet," because you're not selling.
We don't need to sell the community, we need to sell the need.
He said, "You're not selling the marketing guys, you're selling the producers. We're gonna make the video so producers understand it."
Yeah.
And so, that's exactly what he did. He did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Justin did all the editing on that, and that was excellent work on editing. That was a lot of work.
You guys both did a fantastic
He does a good job.
Yep.
We are very blessed to have TV3, that's for sure. So, thank you, sir.
Right, thank you.
Sir.
Thanks, John.
Mr. Harden.
I wasn't trying to sneak away, I swear. I was trying to get everything squared away there.
Get out of here.
All righty. So before I start, got a little thing, it says it's 2019 report. It does have a little bit of that. It also kind of has some background on EMS, kind of understanding the numbers as far as the billing side goes. Sorry, did not get this out to you guys before, but I actually finished putting it together about 11 o'clock Sunday night. So it's not something, I don't expect a discussion on it today. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. It's more kind of an FYI. There is some information from the billing service on understanding billing for elected officials. That's something that he put together for me. There is a page right inside the front cover. That replaces page 17. Color graphs only work when they're printed in color and not when they're copied on a Xerox machine.
Very true.
So when I went back to look, I'm like, all my graph bars are the same color, which tells you absolutely nothing. So that replaces page 17. Also put my business card in there as well. Just kind of food for thought. If you're trying to fall asleep at night, you need to know about ambulance billing. Knock yourself out. I'll entertain any questions at any time. You have all my information in there, email, give me a phone call, drop me a text, whatever you need to do. I think you all have the information that comes out through the mayor's office. I added some monthly highlights. I did add some stuff that happened actually in 19. Just with the change, it just didn't get brought out before now. That we did add Stryker power loads to our two of the three frontline trucks. Those are $25,000 a piece. Those basically do the lifting for you. They dramatically reduce back injuries, strain injuries. We still have one frontline truck to go. But that money came from the non-reverting fund, so that did not come out of tax money. That came out of revenue produced from doing calls. We also have what we call LifeNet. It's actually it's a physio control product. This hooks to our heart monitors, and we can actually send EKGs to the only heart-capable hospital that we have, which is Reed Richmond. We can send that to Reed Richmond. The ER physician can look at it. If he wants a second opinion, he can forward it to the cardiologist, either by phone or by computer, what have you. Basically, it allows us to declare what's called a STEMI alert, which is a ST elevation heart attack, MI. Those are time sensitive, very, very time sensitive. Minutes make a difference. So with us being able to transmit this, they will actually declare a STEMI alert. They will call the team in. They will call the cardiologist in. We call them and say, we're sending this to you. They look at it. They concur with our opinion, and it'll all start happening before we ever even get there. I had one in the middle of the night. It's been several years ago with a different service in it. And I called, and the ER physician, the person answered the phone. It's a designated line for EMS at Reed. And I said, this is Clint with so-and-so. He's like, this is Mike Smith. Well, Mike Smith is actually Dr. Mike Smith. He's like, what do you think you have? I said, I think I've got a big heart attack going on. He's like, you're right, and I've already called the cardiologist.
Wow.
The guy was in surgery before I left the building.
That's wonderful.
That's how fast this stuff moves. So that is a huge thing that was accomplished at the end of 19 that I really wanted to kind of bring to light.
It's a lifesaver.
Yes, it is. It's very big. I mean, you're talking minutes that the heart is without oxygen. We've got to save that time. So, January, just some of the things that I've done. I switched pretty much everything to email invoices. I noticed that we had a lot of stuff that seemed to be crossing in the mail. So this is kind of helping me speed things up. Reviewing and rewriting of all new policies and procedure manuals for the department. Assuming I have time today, I'm going to do the first in-service on our new online scheduling and education tracking software. My goal with that is it'll help us track everyone's continuing education that they have to have on a yearly basis. It also hopefully is going to streamline our scheduling, with my goal being that to reduce overtime, gaps in shifts, so forth and so on. We are implementing, I've got to not finalize, but take the next step of putting a new quality assurance module into our computer program. What we found was that there were some calls being kind of dropped as far as the paperwork end into a dead file, where we were done with them, but billing hadn't got them yet. So there was a little bit of a dead file in there, a dead space. So we're putting a new module in that's actually paid for and administered by the billing service, which there's a very lengthy thing about the billing service in there, to kind of help with that. It's a quality assurance program. Work continues on our building renovations, not as fast as I would like sometimes, but we're plugging away. I have to remind myself every day of how you eat an elephant, and that's one bite at a time. Because I want to do stuff right now and I want it done, and I realize that's not quite the way things work. Anybody have any questions? I can ramble on for another half an hour if you want me to, but I can answer any questions, and that would probably be more efficient.
Did you get all the correct identification numbers on all the ambulances?
Your office should have that. If not, I can resend it.
Yeah, we have all that.
Okay.
There's a big swing between your net expenses and your total receipts and your accounts monthly expense. I'm sure you're keeping an eye on that.
You're always gonna see that in November
Yeah.
because, November follows Christmas.
Because that's a turnaround, kind of a turnaround month too, isn't it? Yeah.
From the time a call is actually taken, it usually takes about 3 months to see that, depending on whether it's insurance, Medicare, Medicaid,
I
private pay.
understand.
And I think that December usually takes a big drop because everybody's off, and so I don't put a lot of faith in single numbers. I like trending. So as we get more information, as I get more, so I can trend it. Hopefully, I can maybe give you guys a better picture of what's going on.
As long as you can draw the straight line through your trending and it comes out where you want it.
Yeah, that's the goal, but. So.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you for this. This is fantastic. I haven't read it all yet, but it's already.
Let's say, I apologize for not getting it to you earlier, but it was one of those where it was Sunday night and I was still putting stuff together, so, but I wanted to get it done this month, so. All righty, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Parker.
Hi, Dan.
Good afternoon, Board of Works. Just to report a little, I'll be as brief as possible. The work of attraction, retention, expansion continues to go on. I believe next month, we will have one, possibly two announcements. We're about 99% sure. And you two guys know, please don't mention any company names or anything, but there'll be some good news that we can all share, hopefully next month. As we do go about trying to attract new companies and work with existing companies to expand, one of the huge hurdles and challenges that we face, and this is nothing new, is workforce and workforce development. And in my 6 years of being on the job, I've been very involved and instrumental in creating what we can to help workforce development. One of the things that we've done, and I have something here I want to show you, is our inclusion into the ACT Work Ready community, which is no small feat. If you look at that second page, you'll see the number of counties that have embraced the program.
Thank you, Dan.
You can see there's just a handful of counties in gold. You see just below the J, and J is not one of them. Delaware, Randolph, Henry, Wayne, Rush, and Fayette. Then there's this county down at the bottom of the state, and I don't know what that county is. And then the one in blue is one that has not received its certification yet. They're still in their embryonic stage. They're still growing toward their goals. So if you pop back over to the first page, you can see where we are, where Fayette County is at in completing our maintaining goals. We lack one emerging, which is a high school student that needs to take the ACT Work Keys test, or assessment rather. They don't like calling it a test, they like assessment. And then an improved certificate. After you take this assessment, you can earn the National Career Readiness Certificate. That's what this improved ACT NCRC, in that blue box down at the bottom. We need one of those, and then we will be, as you can see, we're at 92%, so that must account for four percentage points apiece for those two items. Then we'll be certified for another 2 years. I think our certification ran out in 18. We got certified in 16. We started the program in late 14. It takes about 2 years to meet your goals, and then it takes almost another 2 years to do the maintaining. So what does all this mean? Do we get a gold spot on the map and that's all there is? There's a lot more to it. As we look at requests for information from the state through IEDC, it plays a huge part in our response back to these companies that are searching for a new location to come to. One of their big questions is, tell us about your talent pool. Tell us about your workforce. What's been the history? There's been a lot of problems, been a lot of issues between labor and management. All that stuff comes into play. And site selectors are not really selectors. They're more like site rejectors. Their big thing is to eliminate the list down to who makes the most sense. And if the newspaper, an old newspaper clipping shows where there's been huge problems, or someone's not getting along with someone and there's an issue or a problem, all that stuff helps them reject a county. So this is important. because as you can see by the Indiana map, there's not that many in the whole state that have embraced this program. And what it does for the individual, once you earn the National Career Readiness Certificate, it is a stackable credential that a potential employee can use in gaining employment. It goes right to the top of their resume, and they can use that as a certificate as they would use for any other skill. It shows where they rank in, and I'm not going to go through all what they're tested on, what qualifies them to get that, but they'll come out in the ranking of bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, and you can see where Fayette County's platinums are. Not going to mention that figure. So, good things are happening. I can report to the community and to the Board of Works that our mayor is sincerely interested in growing our economy, and I welcome that. Not that the last mayor was not, he was too, but Mayor Frank has a passion for this that I appreciate, and I believe it'll end up blessing Fayette County and the city of Connersville. Any questions for me?
You never get to know someone better till you get to spend quality windshield time with them. He now knows I'm not right in the head. But he's introduced me to a lot of people, a lot of key people. Dan's helped me learn a lot about economic from the state level, and I think we're working well together.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the time you've invested in me, and I think it's going to be great.
I do
It'll be
too.
fantastic.
We'll slay some dragons. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Jones.
Good afternoon. The first report I have here is for the runs for the month of January. The total runs we had were 121. I'm not going to go through each one. The number of hours for emergencies was 294, inspection hours 15, investigation hours 6, pre-planning hours 18, training hours 185, and estimated property damage for the month was 25,000. That seems to be a typical report that has been issued in the past. If any of you see anything that you would like updated or anything else as far as that reporting goes, let me know. I'm currently in the process of going over several reports, and as you see, the next one where I put together just a quick overtime for January. I do have an overtime sheet that lists the overtime for the several previous years, so you can compare month to month. But since the reports were due only a week after I was in office, I haven't had time to update those spreadsheets yet. So next month, I will have that spreadsheet to you, and you can come back and see January's overtime compared to previous years. But that's just a quick list of the overtime we had for January. Does anybody have any questions over that?
I'm glad you included the FLSA, because that's just. a
Some
given.
people don't.
It's a given and.
Right.
No,
You see it, just a total number, and they wonder where it came from. So, yeah, I tried to break it down. And I'm pretty sure that the other sheet has that broken down also. If not, I'll make sure it is. On to the next thing. You guys should have in your packets. I actually just put an updated contract for a possible trade for the engine one that burnt last October. I don't know if you're all familiar with that or not. Last October, engine one caught fire, and we've just recently gotten a bid approved by the insurance company for Brindley Mountain to do the repairs to fix that truck. And in the process, the previous chief, Tipton, and Battalion Chief Chris Gettinger both looked at possibly trading that truck once it's finished for the other truck that you see in your packets. And they had that discussion with that company and came up with this possible agreement on working out a trade. I had a discussion with Battalion Chief Gettinger last week, because I haven't seen the truck myself, but Troy and Chris went and looked at that truck, and they feel that it would make a good addition to our fleet and would be somewhat of an upgrade over the other truck. It doesn't have all the emissions, it has lower miles, and they just feel it would be a good addition. Obviously, you can see that would require another $20,000, on our part, along with our truck for a trade. And I discussed with Rosemary, we can move within my budget to cover that. So if you would, as far as that updated agreement that I put on your desk before the meeting, the highlighted area was what we added actually this morning, because I called the gentleman and asked him, the truck that we would be looking at trading for is still currently at the department, but Brindley Mountain actually owns it. That department is waiting on their new truck. So my question was, what if something happens in the meantime? We sign an agreement and something, was to happen to the truck that we're, supposed to be trading for. So he added a clause in there that would protect us if something was to happen, obviously.
Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah, Scott, after looking over the numbers, I really have to congratulate you, Troy, and Chris, to take the due diligence to be able to kind of look and see the cost, because to me, this is a no-brainer. If all the costs that I'm getting are true, this is a much better deal.
Right, yeah.
Sing together.
And I know the engine one, the current engine one, the one that burnt, with all the emissions and the filters, we were constantly, I know the guys were constantly having to get out and drive it to Cambridge and back, to burn, I'm not a mechanic, diesel mechanic by any means, but, and then from what I'm told, when it's time to replace that filter, when you can't, burn it like that anymore, it's several $1,000s a pop, so. And this truck doesn't have that, so I think that was appealing.
So we need to make a motion to trade in.
Once the repairs are done. If we go ahead and agree on this, basically, Brindley Mountain would cover the cost of getting that truck down there, that's included. They would make all the repairs, and then once that truck's available, obviously.
Go get it.
Mhm.
But we're just making a motion to approve the trade trucks, or is that what we're doing?
Yes, to trade
Yeah,
in.
yes,
and
and then, right.
trade those two vehicles.
Right.
Your Honor, I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Trade.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right. And no more questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Mr. Creech, you're not on here, but do you have anything you'd like to say, sir?
Good afternoon. Mayor Frank had asked me to come here today. You folks have my monthly report. In year end, since we have a new board, he wanted you folks to have the numbers, what we did for the year. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Good report.
I have one, Tom.
Yes, sir.
You said number of customers served, is that drop-offs, pickups, everything?
What that is, and I appreciate that, that is, when I write your receipt, State Board of Accounts are numbered. So anybody that comes in, anybody got a receipt, it's documented. If you come by and drop off recycling, no, that's not counted. That's a number of receipt we made out for the year.
The waste disposal, that's just dropped off.
Where it says waste disposal, okay, what that comes from, when we get our monthly bill from the waste company, and they bring me the bill, it has a tonnage on it, and the amount of money that we are charged, I give it to clerk treasurer, so that's from the scale.
That's from the scale, but that's from the trash trucks going down and everything.
No. I gave you, what you have there in front of you is the totals that we dispose of through the transfer station,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but does the automatic trash truck, does it drop off at the transfer station?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm
Okay,
sorry,
that's
yes,
what-
I'm sorry,
we're on the
yes,
same
yeah,
page
yeah,
there,
they're
just wanna make
waiting,
sure.
yes, they're
Okay.
waiting, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions for Tom? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it.
By the way, I'd like to just congratulate all my chiefs and department heads. You're all doing a fantastic job. I know I've challenged you all giving you big challenges. You're all stepping up to the plate, and every one of you is doing a fantastic job. You're all being creative, you're thinking outside the box, you're owning it, and you're doing a fantastic job. I just want to say, good job. You make me sleep a little bit easier at night. Sleep is not something I do very well right now. But anyway, thank you very much for all that. Is there any old business? Oh, any miscellaneous business? Like I said, I will be out of town Monday. We'll be back Monday evening. So if you need me, I will be available on my cell phone. Claims, Mr. Mike?
Quickly, payroll was $507,458.74. Utilities was $283,069.56. And the city accounts were $91,318.91.
Okay. We have a motion.
Motion to approve the claims.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And off to the public forum. Anybody from the?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I just hit the pen, sorry.
it's over here. No. Anybody from the public have anything they'd like to say? I thought you were getting my attention. I forgot something.
No.
Okay. Anyone from the public? Okay. Have a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Second. And all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Good meeting.